It's time for our regular parental rights and education issues roundup. We haven't done one for a few months, but a lot has happened in that time. If you don't know what personal pronouns were before, you probably do now, as several provincial premiers have taken action in this matter, specifically as it relates to parental notification. In fact, one premier has threatened to use the notwithstanding clause to get his way to ensure that parents will be notified when their child changes pronouns in the classroom. And Josh Alexander, remember him, the teen from Ontario who has been indefinitely suspended from school for speaking out for the protection of girls-only spaces? Well, he and Billboard Chris, a father who protests against gender ideology with a billboard sandwiched on him, the two of them have teamed up recently for a protest in Ontario. We'll also cover a training day for teachers in a school board and some of the controversial ideologies being foisted upon teachers and staff, including one school principal who took his own life, and the family has attributed that to the bullying he endured at some of these sessions. Heavy, heavy topics, and joining me today to help us unpack it all is Amelia Willis, spokesperson for PAFE, Parents as First Educators. Amelia, thanks so much for coming on today. Lots to discuss and chat about, so we'll dive right in. So let's talk about this pronoun issue. Firstly, where is this issue coming from? Because it seems we have action in New Brunswick, then we have Saskatchewan. I mean, even at one point, Doug Ford, Ontario Premier, mentioned something about pronouns. But why is this happening now?
Yeah, I think parents are just getting more fed up with all of the stuff being pushed at their kids in schools. And the more that the schools are pushing things behind the parents' backs, the scarier it is to be a parent with kids in schools. So we saw it happen first in New Brunswick with Blaine Higgs, and he came under a lot of fire for just wanting parents to be made aware if their children change their names or pronouns in school, and that got a lot of backlash. But that went through, which is a great win. And then Saskatchewan followed suit not too long after. And they got some pushback too. Scott Moe, the premier, actually threatened the notwithstanding clause in order to get that bill passed through to protect parental rights.
And that's a very rarely used tool, if I can use that phrase, that premiers have. I mean, seldom you hear the notwithstanding clause being invoked, especially for something that one would think so small like personal pronoun use.
Yeah, it is a rare occasion, and it kind of sheds light on how important of an issue this is. And it's really refreshing to see premiers taking parental rights and protecting children so seriously to threaten using something like the notwithstanding clause.
Now, I know that there was like a court injunction, or there was like an attempt to have an injunction put in through the courts. There were some stakeholders who were, I guess, anti-parental notification for pronouns, who were concerned about children having to divulge what's going on at school to their parents, and the teachers being forced to do this. What happened to that?
Yeah, so a judge granted an injunction to halt his policy, Scott Moe's policy. Um, and then Scott Moe, that's when he responded saying that he would use the notwithstanding clause if necessary. And the Legislative Assembly reconvened on October 10th to pass the legislation. So that's a huge win for parental rights across Canada, but specifically in Saskatchewan.
And, maybe I just like bigger victories or something. And I'm not suggesting this is not a victory. I mean, it's a good step, but it's just personal pronouns. Again, I don't understand what the stink is about it, if I could use that phrase. Like, what's the big deal? Sure, parents should know what goes on in school. And the school should. Why is it so controversial to not tell parents, number one? And number two is this really where we're at for those advocating for parental rights? Is like the personal pronouns really where we're going to hang up our hat?
Yeah, I mean, it's part of a bigger picture. We've seen in Canada parental rights being slowly taken away from parents. And the pronoun issue is just one more nail in the coffin, so to speak, for parental rights. If parents have children who are changing their identities at school, we know there's a lot of questionable gender ideology happening behind closed doors. And this is just one step to try to get parents back into the loop of what's going on.
Okay, I'm going to pause you there. We'll
They
be right
are their
back.
pardon.
I'm going to pause you there. We'll be right back.